Now that the NFL draft is over, most of the NFL offseason signings are over and done with. Now we can start talking about what to expect and project in the NFL season for 2025. In this video today, I'm going to cover the entire AFC. So that's the AFC East, North, South, and West. We're going to talk about what key additions each team has added, what departures have left, who have they drafted, and what to expect of each of these offenses for fantasy in 2025. And with that, let's roll the intro. I'm going to start us off in the AFC East first. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills. Not too much to be added to already a productive offense with Josh Allen, James Cook, and Khalil Shakir, who was pretty fantasy viable last year. They signed Joshua Palmer to replace Matt Collins. Not sure if that's going to really impact fantasy that much, but something that's noteworthy. My main takeaway of the Buffalo Bills offseason is that there is no backfield competition other than Ray Davis. If you want to draft James Cook in fantasy, there's really no 1B that he has to fend off. It could end up being a good draft pick. Moving on now to the Miami Dolphins. They are another team that's just looking to run it back. But one key change to the Miami Dolphins offense is they are out with Raheem Mostert, and in comes rookie Ollie Gordon II to replace that short yardage, early down back role. And I think Ollie Gordon has a legitimate chance to be a 1B to De'Von Achane's 1A. This is a similar style runner to Raheem Mostert. This is somebody who is probably in the prime years of their career as a rookie running back. So I believe Ollie Gordon passes Jalen Wright, last year's rookie running back pick, and now you have a 1A, 1B style in De'Von Achane and Ollie Gordon. Last year for the Miami Dolphins, we also saw a lot of De'Von Achane usage out of the backfield, and if that continues to stand in 2025, we could very much see Ollie Gordon steal some goal line touchdowns from him and take those goal-to-goal carries when they're about to score. In terms of the Dolphins wide receivers for fantasy, it feels like Tyreek Hill may no longer be a top 10 wide receiver, a wide receiver 1 in fantasy, and it kind of feels like Jalen Waddle may no longer be a wide receiver 2 in fantasy, so they both get downgraded. Obviously, both have the potential to finish as Tyreek Hill wide receiver 1, Jalen Waddle wide receiver 2. Given the situation, what we've seen over the past season, I can't advise Tyreek Hill as a wide receiver 1 in 2025, or Jalen Waddle as a wide receiver 2. Now let's move on to the team that lives regionally closest to me, the New York Jets. Now the Jets in 2025 have no Aaron Rodgers, no Devontae Adams, and I think both of those are actually good things for them. They bring in Justin Fields, who may not be a great quarterback. There's no doubt with the ability to run the football, and if the Jets can utilize that on top of their already proven successful run game and run identity throughout the seasons, I think the ceiling for a guy like Justin Fields would be a QB 6-7 finish on the season, a back-end QB 1. Justin Fields is someone I personally would be willing to take a late-round chance on, but definitely can't expect him to be my week 1 starter and the only quarterback on my roster. Now let's talk the final team in the AFC East. That would be the New England Patriots. And when I look at this team and when I look at this offseason, the first thing that comes to mind when I see what they've done here is this is a real football team. And this is a real offense that they're going to put out, the Patriots, in 2025. Let's take fantasy outside for a second. This team made sure in the offseason, after they drafted their rookie quarterback in 2024, that this year 2 quarterback is going to be able to have a chance to succeed, build an offensive line for the entirety of his career by signing Morgan Moses and drafting Will Campbell on the other side to protect Drake May. And again, fantasy aside, when I look at this offseason and the way the Patriots have addressed it, grabbing positional value and players all over the depth chart that they actually need, it reminds me a lot of the Washington Commanders just a year ago. A lot of guys like Bobby Wagner, Austin Eckler, just guys that fill the depth chart, and with enough guys that know how to play, that can buy into a system that's actually worth leading in Mike Vrabel's offense, this could be potentially a really good football team in 2025, and a surprising one at that. If this was 5 years ago, I would be super excited. I would be over the moon about the idea of the Patriots grabbing Stephon Diggs, but unfortunately, this is a year where he's coming off of season-ending injury. My expectations are not that high for Stephon Diggs, but there's no doubt that this is a massive upgrade to their wide receiver room. To add to the point of adding depth chart fillers, they did sign Matt Collins, so now they have 2 wide receivers in case they're rookies that they develop, which, gotta be honest, never really develop, don't turn into anything. They have 2 guys that actually are capable starting wide receivers. Somebody I have very high expectations for in 2025 is running back Travion Henderson, who they ended up drafting. This is a massive addition to their backfield. This is a running back who is a playmaker in the running game, a playmaking in the passing game. This is going to add an element to their offense that they have not had in quite some time. So the New England Patriots in 2025, much improved their O-line. Drafted and signed players on offense and defense that are going to impact the team immediately. They have a year 2 quarterback who's still figuring it out with better weapons now. I'm expecting this team to be good in fantasy. And there's potentially a really talented running back in that backfield. I'm kind of sold on that offense. Now let's talk AFC North teams. In terms of free agency and draft acquisitions, maybe not the most exciting division to talk about in the AFC, but nonetheless, these are some pretty competitive teams and really interesting fantasy offenses. So let's get right into it with the Baltimore Ravens, who did not really change much to their offense. They still have Derrick Henry, still have all of their guys. They're running it back, but they add DeAndre Hopkins, which is interesting. No, I'm not going to suggest drafting him, but something to monitor. I'm expecting Derrick Henry to be highly drafted, very expensive ADP, something that I'm probably not going to get behind, but if you want Derrick Henry, you want to pay the price, more power to you. I also think there's a great chance that Zay Flowers makes another jump in year 3. When you consider the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is declining, we've seen Mark Andrews' production start to decline. We're probably or near the possibility of a Derrick Henry decline, if that's even possible. I'm not sure. And that leads me to believe overall, even if it's not this year, maybe next year, the idea of Zay Flowers taking another step up in production and being an even better fantasy player than what he currently is. Let's talk Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals decided to lock up their awesome duo of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They're going to be sticking around. They're both must-draft wide receivers. You know, Jamar Chase is probably top 2, and T. Higgins should be somewhere in that top 15, 20-ish range. And being that they're going to run it back with the same team they pretty much have had, it's business as usual for fantasy purposes in the Cincinnati Bengals offense. If I had to make a pecking order of who I would want to draft in fantasy, it would probably be Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and then Chase Brown slightly under that. Let's talk an interesting but confusing one in the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers added DK Metcalf, but they let George Pickens go. The Pittsburgh Steelers added Caleb Johnson, but let go of Najee Harris. Caleb Johnson in an Arthur Smith offense is really potentially exciting. Even though Jaylen Warren is still there and is a competent running back, Caleb Johnson could run away with this starting job, and Arthur Smith could potentially just feed him 25, 30 carries a game. Now let's talk what I think is probably the most interesting division in terms of what could potentially be in 2025. That's the AFC South. But let's get the less interesting ones out of the way first. The Tennessee Titans, they drafted Cam Ward. They have Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears. Once again, I'm going to draft the running back with the lower ADP out of those two because it's a better value. Remember, they were supposed to be 1A, 1B before Tyjae Spears got hurt. So I have no reason to believe that Tony Pollard, coming off of another injury, is going to be significantly better than what he was. He's realistically going to be somebody like last year when I was keeping a distance, keeping my eyes on Jonnu Smith from afar, noticing his production increase and picking him up. Probably keeping that same approach with Chiggy Okonkwo. Now let's go Houston Texans. Keep in mind, no Stephon Diggs, probably no Tank Dell most of the year, and you just got Nico Collins being an absolute dog for this team. I'm very confident a healthy Nico Collins is a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy, and we can argue about it in the comments. But Nico Collins is just one guy, and no Tank Dell, no Stephon Diggs. One of these 2 Iowa State wide receivers that they drafted, Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel, they're going to have to step up. They did add Christian Kirk. I'm unsure if he's really going to outperform one of those 2 rookies, but we're going to have to watch and monitor what's going on in training camps to see who's outplaying the other, who's going to get that starter's snap share. For their running back situation, Joe Mixon should see some regression. I'm not really too excited about drafting him this year. And CJ Stroud should have a bounce back year. Am I that high on him? No, I wasn't high on him last year. I realistically think with the way he plays and the style of play he has, the ceiling really is QB7, QB6. Now let's talk Indianapolis Colts, and I think this is an interesting situation for fantasy, despite we really don't know who they're going to throw out at quarterback. Jonathan Taylor is a great running back stuck in a bad offense. Michael Pittman Jr. is a good wide receiver stuck in a bad offense. But here's where it gets interesting. Tyler Warren, their first-round draft pick, may in fact have a phenomenal rookie season. And no, I'm not basing this off of Brock Bowers having a great season in 2024 and Sam Laporta in 2023. No. The Indianapolis Colts love to throw the ball to the tight end. This was a pick that was schematically made to say, listen, we haven't had one guy that can absolutely take all the targets in our tight end room. Let's put all of our chips into one guy that could end up being that for us, and that's Tyler Warren. So, at least with a tight end, quarterback play doesn't matter nearly as much as a wide receiver does, but Tyler Warren should be able to make some plays and make an impact in year one in fantasy. And now let's go to what I think is probably the most interesting, the Jacksonville Jaguars, because we have no idea how many snaps is Travis Hunter going to play on offense, how many snaps is he going to play on defense. We have no idea. And Travis Hunter, I mean, if we're talking ceiling while he's out there, he's going to dominate. The Jags also added De'Ami Brown, so if they don't get Travis Hunter alongside or in the slot next to Brian Thomas Jr., they have a competent guy across that is going to make it so you can't double-team Brian Thomas Jr. all the time, even though you're going to want to double-team Brian Thomas Jr. all the time. And in the running back room, they added Bashal Tutin in the draft, so now there's a third guy to kind of mix in and ruffle up some feathers and see if they can take away some snaps from ETN, or even maybe make ETN want to compete for that starting job back. We don't really know. I'm willing to take a chance on Travis Etienne and redraft this year just because the price is going to be so cheap and the potential is going to be so high. But make no mistake about it, it's a very high risk, but it's got a very high reward. And let's go out to the Wild Wild West. The Broncos might have a starting running back now in RJ Harvey. It's hard to tell if any one guy is going to take over in a Sean Payton system, but RJ Harvey looks the part if anyone's going to do it. Evan Ingram is a good, not great signing. Sean Payton does love to utilize tight ends, so this could end up being a starting tight end. Probably not going to draft him at his absolute ceiling like he was in years past with the Jaguars. And despite myself being a Bo Nix advocate in 2024, I think his ceiling is really just a back-end QB1, so I'm not that excited about drafting him. If you need a backup quarterback and you want an insurance policy, you can't go wrong with Bo Nix. You want to go fade QB the entire draft? Can't go wrong with Bo Nix. Moving on. The current day dynasty, Kansas City Chiefs, keeping the family together. Hopkins leaves, but they do draft Jalen Royals to be a replacement. He is a good wide receiver, but it's going to be hard for him to find any play time if everyone's healthy. If he has Rashee Rice, if he has Hollywood Brown there, Xavier Worthy, their first-round pick last season, this team's loaded at wide receiver. I don't know if Royals is going to see the field in 2025. The backfield is also kind of a mess. I really don't trust Isaiah Pacheco coming off of the injury that he is, but doesn't seem like they've made much improvement or real competition to that backfield. They did add Elijah Mitchell, who is a good backup running back, but he's probably only going to see the field if a Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco is to miss time. And Travis Kelce should be a back-end tight end one in fantasy. Probably not going to draft him as one of the 3, 4, 5 best guys, but he's going to be starting worthy. Now let's talk LA Chargers. Here comes Omarion. It's me, Omarion. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the best landing spots a rookie running back could land. A Jim Harbaugh offense that absolutely wants to run the ball all the time. I don't care if Jim Harbaugh woke up and thought he should make Justin Herbert get into the Hall of Fame. He's still going to make them run the ball. They added Mike Williams back. Keenan Allen is still a free agent if they want to get the band back together. And Joshua Palmer did leave, but they still have Ladd McConkey. They drafted Trey Harris. They have Mike Williams. And Ladd McConkey should dominate in year 2, barring any injuries. And lastly, the one I find the most interesting, ironically, the Vegas Raiders. They have 2 guys that are absolute difference makers, playmakers, whatever you want to call them now. They have Ashton Jeanty and they have Brock Bowers. And these 2 guys are going to dominate fans. The Raiders decided to make a quick stopgap move in Geno Smith versus actually drafting and developing a quarterback. We'll see how that goes. But other than Brock Bowers and Ashton Jeanty, nobody really that noteworthy of fantasy relevance. But the Raiders have Jack Besh, and he could turn into, in the future, not in 2025, in the future, the next Hunter Renfrow for them. And that's going to wrap it up for the AFC video. If you stuck around and watched this entire video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I'm going to get back to uploading regularly. I promise. I know it's been a while. I know it's a dead time of year. But the truth is, ain't nobody watching right now. It's going to start picking up now. And that's why now these videos are coming out. Now we posting. Now we're making bangers. And now you got to smash the like button. And now you got to subscribe for your boy too. But that's all I got. If you stuck around, thanks so much for watching. My name is Turtle. This is Outlier Fantasy. And I will see you in the next video. NFC video coming out soon.